Hello and welcome back to Foos Entertainment for my review of Friday the 13th, Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan. This is probably one of the most looked down upon Friday the 13th installments. It's also in a lot of ways the very first one that was different in the franchise. And maybe people are not ready for that. I think I hear people. I'm trying to adjust the camera a little. Yeah, we're good. But yeah, this one, I don't hate this movie. I'll be honest with you. I thought that the plot was interesting. And what I find very interesting about this movie is you have like a anthology story going on in this movie. That's what it kind of feels like, due to the fact that you have our main character, Rennie, female, who is always been haunted by dreams and basically is afraid of water, has a phobia of water. And she has never really quite figured out why she has a phobia of water. And what we find out is that when Jason was a little child, he pulled her underneath the middle of the Camp Crystal Lake. And it gave her traumatized nightmares. It made her have a never-ending phobia of water. And that's her story. And you have this story about people trying to survive on a cruise ship. And then you have Rennie and her boyfriend. Sorry, I forget his name for some odd reason. But he and her are basically on the run from Jason on the streets of Manhattan. And all three of the stories kind of come together. As well as, of course, the mythology of Jason and stuff like that. I also like the idea that Jason has multiple forms in this movie. He has a supernatural form is a child version of himself, and he has his current, desecrated version, supernatural corpse version of himself we've gotten used to since part 6. And basically, it's a fast-paced movie. And this is a very short movie, too. It's like 90 minutes, possibly slightly more than 90 minutes, maybe slightly less. I wasn't really paying attention, but this is just a review. But yeah, the film is not a bad movie at all. It just doesn't stand up to the previous 7 films, due to the fact that it tried something different. Now, what people don't really know about the movie is that the director of this movie, well, people probably know that he was a director on the TV series Friday the 13th, which was aired on the Sci-Fi Channel. At a later time, I think it was aired on late night TV on local networks. Although it could have been a movie network it was aired on. But he was the director of that show, quite a few episodes on it, and so they offered him the gig to make the movie. What people don't really understand and remember is that the idea of having Freddy and Jason battle it out in a movie originally came into idea to be done by the director of this movie. So he was the original guy who came up with the concept idea to bring them together in a movie. So I thought that was interesting. Of course, he got what he wanted on this. Can we take Jason out of Camp Crystal Lake? Well, which brings kind of down to why the movie kind of failed in the box office. The title of the movie is Friday the 13th Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan. But two things. There is nothing filmed in Manhattan. They did all the Manhattan scenes in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. And the majority of the movie is filmed on a cruise ship. So it was a little misconception. I think they only have like 1 day or 1 week that they could actually film in New York in the actual movie itself. But they found parts of Vancouver that looked a lot like New York, and that's why it can pass for it. But no. For the most part, this movie was not filmed in New York. I think maybe 5 minutes or something of that was. But other than that, the entire movie was filmed in other locations in Canada. Now let's go on to the premise of the film. How many years after the events of the previous films does it take place? Unknown. It does not actually say in the movie at all. So that's left up to your imagination on how much time has actually passed since The New Blood, which is part 7. Pretty much, there's a high school, I guess, around the parts of where Crystal Lake is located. And basically, the senior class is going on a cruise to New York City in celebration of graduating. So a school trip that will eventually take them to New York City. And that's basically what's going on. While on the cruise ship, they discovered that Jason Voorhees is on there, and he starts killing all of the senior class teenagers on the ship. All of them. That eventually leads to Rennie, her boyfriend, her uncle, who was adopted her after her parents died, and a English teacher, as well as another teenager that actually survived their ordeals with Jason throughout the movie. And they have to fend together and survive the streets of New York City with Jason on their tail. Jason kills all but Rennie and her boyfriend. Very interesting deaths, but we're just talking about the premise in general here, so you guys want to see the innovative kills, watch the movie. But the one that does stand out, and I will talk about the one that does stand out to me the most out of this movie, would actually be when they kill our tough black guy character, Julius. The story behind this one is that the director wanted to do a camera angle from the decapitation point of view, which means that they actually attached a camera to a dummy head mold of the actor who plays Julius, and attached a camera. A camera they could actually live without, or maybe it was a break-proof camera. Most likely not a break-proof camera. This camera they could actually do without and just take the film out of and dispose of. They went ahead and threw it like this, and that created the effect of when Jason punches Julius's head off. Julius's head off. We see sort of like a decapitation cam type of effect, where you actually get to see the world from the decapitated head's point of view is his rolling down into his abyss. But yeah, I thought that was a very interesting way to do a death in Friday the 13th movie, was to do that. And that's one that stands out the most to me. Obviously, Rennie and her boyfriend finally bring Jason to his demise by the end of the movie by trapping him within the sewers with them holding on to their life while toxic waste melts him to death, basically. And of course, they do something interesting by actually having Jason revert back to his child version of himself before he drowned in Crystal Lake. So quite interesting right there. But yeah, that's basically how it ends. Like I said, not a bad movie. Simple plot, very fast paced. Just a thrill ride of a movie, not really a story driven, not really a character developed movie. Well, there is some character development in the movie. There are some characters I feel for, like versus the tough guy Julius or whatever his name is. I do feel for him because I happen to be a martial artist and tough guy, and I would in real life, if Jason was real, I would try to do a one-on-one battle with Jason to try to survive. I don't know if I would end up dead or not, but I probably would. But I don't know though. I'm curious. In fact, this is actually why I want to get the video game Friday the 13th, which is made for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, because people not even knows about that game. It's a little bit off subject, but that's okay. No people don't know a lot about the game, but they said that you actually can kill Jason. They just recommend you don't because it's next to impossible to do it. Well, I'm curious. What does it take to kill Jason? So that's why I want to get the game eventually, so I can find out. And I'll try to make the animated avatar of me look as close to me as it possible. As I get the game. Let's go into audio video quality. This is a surprise. Audio-wise, we'll get to that. Let's start with video first. This one is actually more brightly lit than the previous couple. It still looks very digital, very much like they just took the DVD and mastered it into high def, but this one does have a lot of improvement over the picture, I would say, yes. The color temperatures are still more in the neutral levels, but there are some points in the movie to where you have quite cool color temperatures that you can enjoy, which I kind of like. I think that's the best way to describe the picture. Audio. This is where it gets surprising. Unlike Friday the 13th Part 7, A New Blood, and this one was recorded in ultra stereo in theaters as well. This 5.1 DTS Master Audio track, taken from the ultra stereo source, actually is not flat. It's very directional and quite intense. There's a lot of really good intensified use of all the speakers in the room. A lot of good direction as well. From rain effects to that shaky cam death I told you about, the decapitation cam. You actually hear it off all the speakers flying around. There's a lot of really good directional effects and a lot of really good intensified effects in the movie, unlike the previous film, which had very little of that. And what's funny is this film was used with the same type of sound technology as the previous film, but there's just so much more effects going on in the movie. I don't know why or how that works like that, but that's the way I saw it and experienced it. But yeah, overall good movie. Definitely looked down on. I took a lot of time and a lot of pleasure defending the movie. I think that it's not worth all the hate that it gets. I think it's not that bad of a movie. It's not the greatest Friday the 13th movie, but it's not that bad of a movie. But that's something that I like doing is defending movies in these franchises that I actually think do not deserve the hate, and this is definitely one of them. Well, let me know what you thought about Friday the 13th Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan below, or not. Subscribe if you like. I will see you guys next time for my review of A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 5, The Dream Child, which is another film that's hated on that I will be defending, but I also have my problems with, and I will talk about those too. So until then, I will see you next time.